Hello everyone! Hi, it is I, Whimsy, here to deliver another remote viewing and another tarot reading. For those people just tuning in, my name is Whimsy and I'm a tarot reader, and I also do some remote viewings. And for those people just tuning in, I do a nightly meditation. It's a technique that we've talked about here. I use the heart-centered meditation, and then we deliver message the following day about what I picked up. I also do tarot readings. We're going to talk about that today. So, folks, hello. There's a lot going on. I threw cards this morning, and I will throw cards again just so that I could get a little bit of objectivity, because I'm trying not to project too much when I try to interpret things. So, the first thing that I was focusing on was William Barr. So I want to talk a little bit about William Barr's energy. I liken it to a child that does not want to be picked up. If you've ever tried to pick up a child that does not want to be picked up, a 40-pound child quickly turns into a 300-pound child. You physically cannot get the child to do anything. William Barr's energy feels like that. It's a passive form of protest, in the sense that by failing to cooperate or giving answers that are not answers in a very passive aggressive way, he can avoid giving people information that they want, giving Congress what they want. So his energy, William Barr, when I go into it, is like that passive child, the person who plays games, who's being very passive aggressive and simply doesn't, and pretending not to understand you. What did I do? When it's very obvious what's going on. So his function seems to be to protect the president and other Americans who have not formally been charged or are facing future charges. That was the remote. So William Barr's job at this point is to get attention off the president, get people to stop fixating on the president and the president's involvement in possibly the Russian meddling. But his job is also to protect any other Americans who may not have been formally charged at this time or may be facing charges in the future. So what will the public see? It looked like what they did is they took the Mueller report, which is 400 pages, and they cut out and redacted not just the grand jury testimonies, but they cut out anything that would show coordination or hints of coordination between certain people and Russian operatives. So if they intercepted a phone call between person A and a Russian handler, next to the streets, if they intercepted something like that, that would be removed from the Mueller report, because it would suggest coordination, synergism. For example, they intercepted under Obama's administration, they began to intercept phone calls between Mike Flynn and people that were known to be Russian spies, and that was one of the reasons why he was under surveillance, and that was how they were able to capture phone calls. And that's also why the Obama administration fired Michael Flynn and continued to monitor the situation. People had asked me, what does Obama have to do with it? Was Obama under investigation? No, Obama was not under investigation. When Obama took office in 2008, he was debriefed by the intelligence agencies that they had been having cyber attacks, that they had people working inside the intelligence agencies. They'd had problems with leaks and handing over information to foreign governments. Snowden, who I believe he's still in Russia, who worked for the NSA, he was able to move to Russia to get some type of, to avoid extradition to the United States. Julian Assange, who also appears to have taken money from foreign governments. They appear to have paid him in offshore accounts and in cryptocurrency. He seems to have taken information from hackers. Some of those hackers were paid by foreign governments. Some were working on their own. Chelsea Manning was one of those people. So this is the ongoing investigations that were happening by the intelligence agencies, and the president at that time just happened to be Barack Obama for 8 years. So when they debriefed Barack Obama and said, this is going on, we've got leaks, we've got a problem following the money, we suspect people are being compromised who are in political power, etc., by foreign governments, and they appear to be paid via offshore accounts and cryptocurrency, and it's making it very difficult for the feds to track the money and to shut down these bribery schemes. So when Michael Cohen was arrested and agreed to cooperate with the Mueller investigation, they had raided his offices, his home, etc. He proceeded to cooperate with them and give them the keys to P.O. boxes, etc., stuff that was stored at banks in vaults. He also was able to get them documents about foreign business ties, foreign banking, how money was going in and out of the Trump organization through offshore accounts, etc. And he was able to do that with Alan Weisselberg, who also has partial immunity. So that, again, is the real investigation. It's trying to follow offshore accounts, drug money, bribery schemes, cryptocurrency, funding political parties and peoples of interest who are being bribed by foreign governments, to badmouth the FBI, to make it as if it's some kind of holy mission to destroy the FBI, to convince people that they are fighting the good fight and that they're going to engage in some kind of liberation, is really how you get people to back what you're doing, when what you're really doing is just bribing officials, selling drugs, trafficking people, and smuggling it all via these offshore accounts and cryptocurrencies and trying to elude the feds. And then you're putting up a fake puff speech about how this is somehow revolutionary and how you're doing something that's going to ultimately save the world, when what you're really doing is just Putin's bidding. And Putin did not like the Obama administration, and he didn't like the State Department because they came down hard on Putin for these types of bribery schemes and for paying compromised people. So again, the Mueller report really is going to be a disappointment, because the only thing we're going to be able to see in the Mueller report is the Russian involvement, and they are going to, with a fine-tooth comb, extract any evidence of the real investigation, which, to reiterate, is dirty money coming in and out of the United States, other countries, bribed persons, and people working inside the intelligence agencies like Snowden, like Chelsea Manning, etc., who are handing over documents and to questionable persons and governments like Russia, etc. So that's the real investigation. So don't be surprised if you're disappointed, angry, and frustrated by the Mueller report, because you know what's coming. You know that the real investigation is dark money, cryptocurrency, the black market, bribing people, people in DC. It was Obama who said continue to monitor the situation. He didn't tell the intelligence agencies how to do their job. They told him what was going on. They told him what the investigation was, and he was intelligent enough to understand that it was not his job to interfere with an ongoing investigation by the intelligence agencies into Russian meddling. But deeper than the Russian meddling, before the Russian meddling happened, there were years of bribes and compromised persons and people being filmed with prostitutes. So you had blackmail schemes, you had bribery schemes, you had offshore money. The average congressperson in the United States, I think, makes something like $45,000 a year and probably can't afford a one-bedroom apartment in D.C. Some poor congresspeople are making as little as $35,000 a year. So where does the rest of their money come from, and why do they leave after 10, 15, 20 years of working in Congress as multimillionaires? You know, where is the money coming from, and how are they getting access to it? So that is the real investigation. I keep saying it. Please don't be, so to be clear, I'm going to say it one more time to be clear, because I really can't stress it enough. The Mueller report will contain information about Russian meddling, but they will extract anything that in any way names of any American persons who have not formally been charged. They're going to be very careful about that. The function of William Barr at this point is to give the Americans information about the Russians did and then turn around and bury the report so that nobody knows what the real investigation was. Oh yeah, okay, I covered that. That was wrapped up during the Obama. Okay. So that's the story. Michael Cohen. The second phase of what Michael Cohen is now handing over is he's handing over the offshore account information, because everybody knows that William Barr is trying to be passive aggressive, not answer Congress's questions, and is going to shut this entire thing down. People like Cohen, and Cohen is an incredibly important witness simply because he has so many documents and because he himself was in so much trouble, is going to be very important to the investigation. It's really about that they're going to have to start subpoenaing these people, because they will probably get minimal to no cooperation from Barr. And to some extent, Barr is right. If you have an ongoing investigation, you don't want to be naming names of anybody who could be theoretically charged in the future by the FBI. And so it makes sense also that Robert Mueller would not recommend any more indictments at this time, because certain investigations are not done. Instead, they'll get them on lesser charges and get them to try and cooperate. Which brings me to Julian Assange. Julian Assange is an interesting character in the sense that he's been kind of depicted as a modern day hero, like Robin Hood, steals from the rich and gives to the poor. He's kind of romanticized his character. It makes him appear publicly sexy, brave. You could probably get a lot of girls with a reputation like that. You could probably impress a lot of girls that you're some freedom fighter that's fighting the good fight and you're going to save the world. Or there could be another explanation. You don't write. You're not much of a writer. You don't do much of anything. You're kind of lazy, and it's an easy job where hackers who are doing the real work hand you the information, you turn around and publish it, and then you get paid in a foreign bank account with cryptocurrency, which is probably what originally alerted the Australians to problems with Julian Assange. In plain words, he wasn't declaring his income sources to the Australians, and he wasn't paying his taxes in Australia. So the Australians were already alerted to some of this stuff with Australian intelligence, and it was Australian intelligence that let the Americans know about Papadopoulos having conversations and making deals with people who were part of the DNC hack. So that's coming in also about the Australians. In terms of who I now suspect the King of Cups, King of Pentacles is, because we've been keep getting the outcome of the King of Pentacles. We will see how this unfolds, but I'm getting a strong feeling that the King of Pentacles is none other than, is everybody ready to roll the drums? Who do y'all think he is? The King of Pentacles is Rod Rosenstein. He is the one that holds the keys. He's the one that's going to be the final outcome. And I don't know what that means. But he is an earth sign male. I believe he might be a Taurus. Either that or he's a Capricorn. I looked it up. Anyway, I think it's Rod Rosenstein, and I think that there's some significance about him remaining at the Justice Department, and he seems to be the final outcome of how this will end. All right, so I'm going to do a couple cards today. I'm going to throw cards on William Barr. the Mueller report, William Barr's relationship to Robert Mueller. I'm going to do Julian Assange today because I want to take a look at his cards. Okay, let's take a look. The first thing I want to do is I want to take a look at the actual Mueller report itself. And I'm just going to ask from Spirit with permission to access the escape records of the published Mueller report so that we can see what's actually there. I did this earlier this morning and found that it was mostly dealing with the Russians, as I said, with very little about American coordination. And I just want to see what the Mueller report's going to look like and the American response. How will Democrats respond to the Mueller report? What's in the redacted version, and how will the Democrats respond? I want to be a little bit more specific today. Base card, greed and defensiveness. 4 of Pentacles moving in, holding on to your cards, holding on to your coin, frugal. This is a report where they're being very careful about what they allow the American people to see, and you can see a 7 of Wands pushing up as the second base card, defending territory, defending or protecting one's position. There's something there they don't want us to see, and it's been redacted. You can see holding on, frugal, defensive position. Where we are at right now, the offer, this is probably the offer coming in from Barr, the peace offer, which we all know what's going to be in it. And there we have him again, the King of Pentacles right over us. I'm convinced now that this is Rod Rosenstein. What is above us? What is below? A desire to have Americans feel confident about their government, a desire to have confidence about where the American government is headed, and a desire to make things stable for the American people because it's good for the economy, it's good for the mental health of the American people. It's just a desire to have things running smoothly again. You can see the Empress sitting in the base, with a 9 of Pentacles moving in, stability, stable government, stable economy, emotional stability, fruitfulness, the ability to... They want things back to normal in DC. I keep seeing that. They want things stable again. They want the craziness to stop, and they feel that this fixation on the Mueller report has made things a little crazy. We're going into a moon phase, which again, when you know you're being gaslit, this is exactly how you start to feel. Confused, disoriented. To avoid feeling that way, you know, the 5 of Cups is what I pulled, which is 3 cups down, 2 cups standing. What were the 3 cups they took away? What were the 3 things we lost? And it's really about the coordination. The coordination has intentionally been removed from this report. And that is why people are going to get confused. And they're going to start doubting themselves, and they're going to start doubting what's real. Where we are at right now, hanging it up. They want to hang the report up. They want to give us some short, sweet things saying this is what the Russians did. The Americans had nothing to do with it. You can move on, nothing to see here. And that is why we're going to be confused. What is around us? Here we go. 3 cups fall, 2 stand. What did they remove and what did they keep? And why are we upset about it? What has been buried? The heart and the guts of the report have been removed. And the heart and the guts was coordination. Behavior that suggests coordination but cannot be proven is removed. The hope and the fear that the truth will never be known, that the sun will never shine on this investigation. And the final, a new partnership, stability. They really want to get stable again. We'll do a clarification, new beginnings in the springtime, hope and fears, and the final outcome. They want to cut this report off. They want to cut off the fixation. They want things back to normal. There's this belief that they're going to stabilize this presidency privately, and the American people don't need to know anything about it. They will take care of Trump. They will control him. We can all get back to our lives. Everything's going to be fine. And I don't think the American people are going to settle for this. And I think that's going to surprise William Barr. It will appear as a cover-up, and there'll be a reaction to it, cutting it off, wanting to create stability. Very interesting. I want to do something else now, which is I want to throw about the relationship between William Barr and Robert Mueller, because I saw in the last throw I did this morning on the subject that William Barr was upset about it. He was not happy that the meat, the guts of the investigation were removed from the report. And basically we're getting the report without the guts of the report. And I just want to check really, really quickly how the energy works between these two folks. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle and see about the dynamics between the two of them. All right. What is going on with the relationship between Barr and Mueller? What's going on with the relationship between Barr and Mueller? Base card. Creating stability, walking away. 5 of Pentacles. Poverty card. There's still some type of partnership going on. However, the 5 of Pentacles, the 4 of Pentacles, which came in before, suggest that there's disappointment here, and let's just try and figure this out. What's over them? Close. This conversation is closed. Barr's not gonna change his mind. Barr's not gonna change his mind. This is this conversation's closed. This investigation's gonna get buried, or at least the public aspect. Wish card is granted. What's that about? Above. Working it out, coming into smoother waters. The death of the investigation. And there's the report. We're there right now. Endings, slow, hopes and fears, and the final outcome. Yeah. This is a report where they're going to instead try and put the focus on the international aspects, the international aspects of the report, convincing the American. Look, it's slow going. The first thing they have to do is convince the general public that the Russians interfered in the first place. This is the first phase. A large percentage of Americans don't even know or believe the Russians interfered with the election. So, as frustrating as this may be, the Mueller report, at the very least, will establish that the Russians interfered and how they did it. So while it may be disappointing to those of us who maybe wanted more to come out, for many Americans, this is a good beginning. But it has an international aspect to it. This is the beginning, the international aspects that are coming out in the Mueller report. And from that, while we may be temporarily disappointed and depressed, understand that for many Americans that are either not paying attention or Americans that are supporting this president, the very fact that Russia was involved this much in meddling is the beginning of the conversation that the country can begin to have, while simultaneously protecting those people who have not currently been charged. Okay, so I guess what Spirit is saying to us is, you may be disappointed, but for many Americans, take heart. This is going to be new information for them, because they don't even know the full extent to which this foreign involvement took place. And so for that reason, it's actually a good thing, and it will allow people who are on the Republican side, people who supported this president, to begin to be at least open to the idea that Russian hacking took place, and that our elections are being compromised. All right, I'm going to do one more throw now on Julian Assange. I'm sorry for those people who love Julian Assange. I feel like there's a lot of propaganda about what a nice guy he is, how horrible American intelligence is. The American intelligence is evil and bad. Julian Assange is good. But when I do a remote on it, that's not what I see. I see somebody who believes his own press, and it was a great way to make a buck, and he made a lot of money. Maybe he believed in this at one time. He got some pretty girls. He was able to. It did great things for his reputation. But I'm sorry to say, there's an aspect of him. He looks like a malignant narcissist. He was simply making money overseas by publishing this stuff with foreign governments, and then advertising it as somehow good for the world that he was doing this, when the truth of the matter is, it was all organized and calculated by foreign governments that were trying to prop up individuals they felt would be pro-Russian, and it was also done to discredit the FBI and to discredit the Obama administration and the State Department, whose policies were not good for Russia. And that meant declaring war on Barack Obama and declaring war on Hillary Clinton. But specifically, Barack Obama was a threat, because Barack Obama had given the okay, or the green light, for the intelligence agencies to continue to investigate dark money, bribery schemes, etc. And so the people that were involved in bribery, dark money, etc., had to come up with some way of getting the world to hate Barack Obama, and they did that by appealing to people's prejudices. In the South, they used the Southern strategy. If you were Jewish, they tried to talk about Israel and his deal with Iran, whatever they could do to discredit this president, because they wanted to stop this investigation into dark money and bribes. They also were not big fans of Al Franken, because Al Franken was very active about putting a stop to super PACs and dark money and bribes. And now it's 2019, and we are seeing the extent to which people in DC may have been bribed and gotten quite wealthy off these offshore accounts. And it's now at that point that we will see Michael Cohen begin to share with Congress these offshore schemes that are allowing Trump to put on the facade of being a billionaire, because those offshore schemes pay for the public image that is the Trump organization. All right, so let's go ahead now and look at Julian Assange. What is the future of Julian Assange? What is the future of Julian Assange? All right, the base card. Very interesting. King of Cups. Addiction, codependency, drug addiction, sexual addiction, codependent relationships, mental health challenges, codependency. This is what is established. This is what is associated with this individual, and possibly a drug addiction as well. Alcohol or drug addiction. Sexually inappropriate behavior, pedophilia, sexual predation, sexual addiction. That's the devil card. It's to be chained or addicted to something that's an unhealthy habit or relationship. That's the best way to sum up the devil card. Two of Cups. Yes, I agree with Linda. I believe it was Linda Grindell who said that she saw him singing like a canary. I would concur with her that if you have a Two of Cups moving in where he's at right now, this is someone who's scared and is willing to talk. Because Two of Cups suggests partnership. Partnership in exchange for money. Probably how he was able to get away with what he got away with so long. And it is what alerted the Australians. Where is he keeping his money and who's paying him? His partnerships. What is above him? Confusion. He's confused. What is below him? He's trying to take control of the situation. Who he romanced with, who he had partnerships with. There was more than one government probably. It seems to be a few people he was working with, because you can see Two of Cups, partnership, money, but you can see here Seven of Cups, multiple choices, multiple options, confusion. Towards the end, it may have been questionable if he believed in anything. He simply became like a soldier of fortune, willing to do the work of any foreign government or any individual that was willing to pay him to publish unredacted documents that came from the DNC or any other organization or government for a price. You can see here Ace of Pentacles moving in. It was a love affair. It was a partnership that was heavily involved with money. Did he think that it served some kind of religious or spiritual? Was it part of his ethos? Perhaps at one time, yes. He's being given some kind of an offer already. He knows what they want. They want him to name his contacts. And the final outcome, he's going to name all of his contacts. How he is connected to the rest of the world. This would be a huge advancement for the intelligence agencies. They already have a rough idea how these schemes work, but with his cooperation, they can get further a lot faster. And he is coming to the States, and he will be interviewed. He has lost his faith. He wants to put this behind. He's going to get a deal. I would not be surprised if Julian Assange made a deal and was protected. He may surprise people, because at this point, I question whether or not he believes any longer what he claims to have believed that got him into this situation in the first place. The final outcome, he wants to put this behind him. Once he shares the world, he wants to put this behind him. So I'm going to tentatively say he's going to make a deal with the intelligence agencies. He's going to show how he was connected with governments, how these schemes worked, in exchange for safety and immunity. And there's a good chance, at least for the time being, he's going to get it. Wow, very interesting. All right, I want to thank everybody for watching this very long video of Tarot with Whimsy. I had to do it. I had to look at all that stuff. Please don't be disappointed by the public Mueller report and the fact that they're going to cut out coordination with the Americans, because that's kind of what they feel they have to do, and the scheme is gonna unravel as there are more and more congressional hearings, because they're not going to be getting much cooperation from Barr. All right, thanks for watching, everybody, and if you'd like to still get in for an appointment this week, absolutely you can. Just click on the link below and I would love to give you a reading. So thanks for watching, everyone, and be well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.